Mia was a shy girl living in a small, picturesque town nestled in the hills. Her world was filled with the melodies of birds, the scent of blooming flowers, and the warmth of her close-knit family. She loved to read books, but most of them were in her native language. Mia often dreamed of traveling to distant lands, meeting new people, and experiencing different cultures. But there was one major obstacle. She didn't know how to speak English. In her town, English was rarely spoken, and it felt like a distant, unattainable goal. One day, while helping her father clean out the attic, Mia stumbled upon an old, dusty book titled The Secret to Learning English. Her father had found it in a second-hand bookstore years ago. Intrigued, Mia carefully opened the book. Inside, she discovered a wealth of stories, tips, and exercises designed to help anyone learn English. The book promised that with dedication and the right approach, anyone could master the language. Determined to give it a try, Mia began reading the first chapter, which focused on finding motivation. It suggested connecting the language with something she loved. Mia adored music, so she decided to start with English songs. She chose her favorite pop songs and began singing along, looking up the lyrics and their meanings. This not only made learning fun, but also helped her remember new words and phrases. As days turned to weeks, Mia found herself humming English tunes and picking up new words. She made a habit of writing down unfamiliar words and phrases in a notebook, creating her own personal dictionary. The book also emphasized the importance of practicing with someone who spoke English. Mia thought of her neighbor, Mrs. Thompson, an English teacher who had retired a few years ago. Summoning her courage, Mia knocked on Mrs. Thompson's door and asked for help. Mrs. Thompson was delighted to assist her. They started meeting twice a week in Mrs. Thompson's cozy living room, surrounded by shelves filled with books. She introduced Mia to simple conversations and helped her practice speaking. At first, Mia was shy and stumbled over her words, but Mrs. Thompson's patience and encouragement made her feel comfortable. They talked about everyday topics like the weather, favorite foods, and hobbies. Gradually, Mia's confidence grew, and she started to enjoy their sessions. The next chapter in the book was about immersion. It suggested that to truly learn a language, one must surround themselves with it as much as possible. Mia took this advice to heart. She changed her phone and computer settings to English, started watching English movies and TV shows with subtitles, and began reading simple English books. Her favorite TV show was about a group of friends living in New York City. They found their adventures funny and relatable, and the subtitles helped her understand the dialogue. Mia also discovered an online community of English learners. She joined forums and chat groups where people from around the world practiced English together. She made friends with Emma from Australia and Raj from India. They chatted regularly, shared their cultures, and helped each other improve their English. Mia's journey wasn't always smooth. There were times when she felt frustrated and doubted her abilities. Grammar was especially challenging. She struggled with tenses, prepositions, and sentence structures. But the book had a chapter on overcoming obstacles. It advised learners to take breaks when needed and not be too hard on themselves. It emphasized persistence and a positive mindset. Mia followed this advice. Whenever she felt overwhelmed, she took a break, listened to her favorite English songs, or went for a walk in the nearby park. She also found that yoga and meditation helped her stay calm and focused. One day, Mrs. Thompson gave Mia a special assignment to write a short story in English. Mia was nervous but excited. She wrote about a young girl who traveled to different countries, making friends and learning about new cultures. She poured her heart into the story, using the vocabulary and grammar she had learned. Mrs. Thompson praised her work and encouraged her to keep writing, reminding her that practice was the key to improvement. As Mia's English improved, she began exploring new interests. She joined an online book club where members read and discussed English books. Her first book was a classic novel about friendship and adventure. Although challenging, Mia found joy in understanding the story and sharing her thoughts with others. She also started watching English documentaries on nature, science, history, and art. She was fascinated by the vast amount of knowledge available and felt her world expanding. She even began dreaming in English, a sign that the language had truly become part of her life. One day, Mia came across a writing competition announced by the local community center. They were looking for young writers to submit stories for a chance to get published. Mia decided to enter. She spent weeks crafting a story about a young girl who discovered a magical book that transported her to different worlds, each teaching valuable lessons. When the results were announced, Mia was overjoyed to learn she had won first place. Her story was published in the community center's magazine, and she was invited to read it at a special event. Standing on stage and reading her story aloud, Mia felt a deep sense of pride and accomplishment. She had discovered not only the secret to learning English, but also her passion for writing. Mia's success inspired many people in her town. She started a small club at the local library where she shared her learning techniques with others. She encouraged them to find their motivation, immerse themselves in the language, and practice regularly. As Mia's confidence grew, new opportunities began to appear in her life. One afternoon, Mrs. Thompson told her about an online exchange program where students from different countries practiced English together through video calls. At first, the idea scared Mia. Speaking English face-to-face with strangers felt overwhelming, but she remembered how far she had come. Taking a deep breath, she signed up. During her first session, her voice trembled and her sentences were slow, but the people on the screen smiled, listened patiently, and encouraged her. By the end of the session, Mia realized something important. She didn't need perfect English. She just needed courage. As Mia participated in more conversations, she began making mistakes, many of them. Sometimes she used the wrong word, sometimes she mixed up tenses. Sometimes people didn't understand her at all. At first, these moments embarrassed her. She wanted to quit. Then she remembered something Mrs. Thompson once said. Every mistake is proof that you are trying. Instead of feeling ashamed, Mia started writing her mistakes in a notebook. She reviewed them, corrected them, and tried again. Slowly, her fear of mistakes disappeared. Mistakes became her teachers. One day, Mrs. Thompson gave Mia a special assignment to host an English storytelling session for children. The idea of standing in front of others made her heart race, but she agreed. On the day of the event, Mia stood before a small group of children holding an English picture book. Her hands shook slightly as she began to read. Sentence by sentence, her voice became steadier. The children listened with bright eyes and curious smiles. When she finished, they clapped. In that moment, Mia realized she was no longer the shy girl she once was. Through English, Mia connected with people far beyond her town. She continued chatting with Emma and Raj and even met new friends from Japan, Brazil, and Spain. They shared stories about their lives, traditions, and dreams. English became more than a subject. It became a bridge between cultures. Mia learned that language was not just about grammar and vocabulary. It was about understanding people. Her world felt bigger, richer, and more meaningful. As time passed, Mia noticed how many people around her were struggling with English, just like she once had. She decided to help. She began volunteering at the community center, teaching basic English to beginners. She shared simple techniques, songs, stories, conversations, and patience. Seeing others improve filled her with joy. She understood now that teaching was another way of learning. Helping others strengthened her own confidence and skills. Mia knew her journey with English was far from over. There were still new words to learn, new accents to understand, and new stories to write. But she no longer felt afraid. She had learned the true secret to mastering English: consistency, curiosity, and belief in oneself. Looking out over the hills of her small town, Mia smiled. The world no longer felt distant. It felt open. And her journey, both with English and with life, was only just beginning. As months passed, Mia began to imagine a future she had never dared to dream of before. She no longer saw English as just a skill. It was becoming part of who she was. Late at night, she would sit by her window writing in her notebook, short essays, poems, and little stories, all in English. Each page felt like a step forward. For the first time, Mia allowed herself to dream bigger. She wondered if someday she could study abroad, or maybe become a writer whose words traveled across borders. The thought no longer felt impossible. One afternoon, the local community center invited Mia to give a short speech about her learning journey. The audience would include students, parents, and teachers. Her heart sank. Speaking English in front of a crowd was different from chatting online or teaching small groups. Fear crept back into her mind. But Mia remembered how fear had once tried to stop her and failed. She practiced every day, reading her speech aloud, correcting her pronunciation, and building confidence. On the day of the event, her hands trembled, but her voice did not break. When she finished, the room was silent. Then came applause. Mia realized she was stronger than her fear. Not every day felt successful. Some days Mia felt stuck. New vocabulary refused to stay in her memory. Complex sentences felt confusing again. She worried she wasn't improving anymore. Mrs. Thompson noticed her frustration and smiled gently. "Growth isn't always loud," she said.